Hey y'all, what's going on? My name is Lawanda and welcome to my channel. My channel is for underprivileged children, and to let you all know, I do have a stick-up kid. And that's what underprivileged kids are, stick-up kids. They are doing adult crimes, and I experiencing this right now. My son was 15. He was 16 when he got locked up, and he's doing 25 years. And I just want to share a few things with you all, and just to get it out there on that, on whatever. So, are you a parent of a child that committed an adult crime? Well, you're not alone. I'm here with you. So, if y'all like my videos, please like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell. So, let's get it started. Okay? Feature media resources, videos, Stick Up Kid, Frontline. I want to give a shout out to Frontline on this video. It's speaking of a young man. He's in the same category. But we're gonna look at this video first, and then we're gonna go from there.
Here's a glimpse into my past to help you better understand. It was mistakes. They degrade men and hands I would trade because it made me a slave. Bondage and a cage. Frustration. I'm enraged. This was my last resort. I ain't no stick-up kid on my last Newport. No place to live. Here's a glimpse into my past to help you better understand. Everything that I am not makes me who I am. I was 16. I just turned 16. They had cages like they would have at the zoo, but they're sectioned off, right? And there were guys filled with them in capacity.
I just was like, yeah, I'm not one of them. I do not belong here. I do not want to be here. I want to go home. I have 13 years. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could wake up every day, look at the same wall every day. Like about 6 months in, I gave up. I'm not scared to admit I can't handle prison. I'm not that strong.
I wasn't like a hellion or nothing like that, or like just the worst kid, but I got in trouble a little bit. My mom was mad at me, so I ran away. I met somebody. I went to his apartment. He talked to me, asked me questions like, "Do I want to stay there for a little while?" I could stay there for a couple of days. They cooked me food. They fed me. I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna try to go home. And he said, "You're going home?" He left and went in the room. When he came back out, with a gun. And he said, "You think you're gonna eat my food for free? You think you're gonna live in my house and just walk out and things come free like that? No, nothing's free." And he said, "No, you're gonna have to rob his store." The way he made it sound was like this, like, "If you do it for me and you do it successfully, I'll probably even give you some of the money. But you're gonna do this for me." It was in a fast trip gas station. I remember seeing gangster movies, Men's Society, Boys in the Hood, where they had guns. And in all those movies, when they pulled their gun out, they held it like this. So that's what I did. I put the gun to the guy's chest, and I said, "Empty up."
my hand down like that. The gun went off, smoke, commotion, no customers in the store.
When the gun went off, it snapped me to attention. I was like, vacate the premises. So I tried to run. Drug clerks hopped on top of me and started beating me. I said, God, if you get me out of this, I swear I'll be good. I swear. You have my word. Get me out of this, and I'll be a good boy. I promise. Amen.
And then we held him at gunpoint until the cops came. You have a lot of adrenaline running through your head at the time, so you're not really thinking until after. And then it all started sinking in that this is really a kid.
Alarming news reports describing teens as time bombs and super predators.
Youth is no excuse for committing murder, robbery, rape, home invasions, or for terrorizing entire neighborhoods.
Proponents argue stern measures are necessary to combat rising youth crimes.
Many of the worst super predators were juveniles, and they were being referred to a system that was created to handle bad boys. We were walking around basically unarmed in terms of our penal statutes when it came to juveniles. And that is why Proposition 21 came about.
In California, a zero-tolerance youth crime initiative is on the March 7th ballot.
Opponents say the measure would sweep more youth into the criminal justice system in a state that already locks up more kids per capita than any other.
These crimes are dangerous. What people have to remember is that a lot of people out there who are trying to make a living have a right not to be terrified. And their right, frankly, trumps an ex post facto sob story.
Alonzo Thomas was the first minor tried as an adult under Prop 21 in Kern County.
Was Alonzo a juvenile super predator?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It surprised me why the prosecutor would file in adult court, because the robbery was botched. And it was botched because he's a 15-year-old youngster. Many minors are impacted by adults. They're impacted and influenced to do things they wouldn't ordinarily do, and that needs to be taken into consideration. When you're 14, 15 years old, even if you commit a serious or violent felony, the potential is great for rehabilitation. I don't think that in most cases it's appropriate to process a 14-year-old or 15-year-old through the adult system unless it's merited. Sometimes it is, most of the time it's not.
He did the crime, and he had to be held accountable. But to be tried as an adult, you have this young man that didn't have one blemish on his record, sent away as an adult, tried as an adult. Why?
If I would have been more brave or a little bit more determined to not go into that store, maybe I could have did something different, you know? But I was just so scared. I thought I had no other choice.
It would be inconceivable for us and for most prosecutors in California not to direct file in Superior Court robbery with the use of a firearm. That particular crime is the most dangerous crime that there is, absent homicide itself. We either treat people who commit that kind of crime very seriously in order to protect people like his victims, or we don't. There's no middle ground.
They dropped 2 counts of armed robbery, and they charged me with 1 count of armed robbery, second-degree robbery. So altogether, they're getting me 13 years.
I remember looking at him, and he looked so innocent. And I hugged him, and I kissed him, and I said, I love you. and they walked him out.
Every time you go somewhere out of your cell, you go to a cage. Sometimes the cages are half the size of a phone booth, so you can't move your elbows even up. And then when you leave that cage, they cuff you up and take you back to another cage. You're always from cage to cage. There's a big wall on 4B. When I got there and I saw that wall, it was like, just me against this wall, you know? I don't know if I could do it. The whole building was yelling, kicking on the door. Man down, he's hanging. He's hanging, man down, he's hanging, we have a hanger. Time went by. They brought him out, and everyone already knows he's dead. And he never came back. That's the last time I saw him. I thought, that's gonna be me in a couple of years. I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm not gonna be able to take it. I'm not gonna be able to take it. And I'm gonna just check out.
I am writing concerned about my future here in CDCR and my life in general. I'm not trying to be funny, but I feel I'm Humpty Dumpty. I guess you could say I had a big fall. I committed a robbery that got me locked up, and I honestly feel all the psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, officers can't help me. They can't put me back together again. I need you, badly. And it's signed, sincerely, a young man crying out for help, Alonzo Thomas. The idea of a 16-year-old going to a California men's prison is beyond my comprehension. It is an extremely dangerous, complicated place. It is a place where you have very few systems of support, very few systems of protection. So here's a young man who was put into this terrible environment with a long sentence in front of him and very little ability to cope. One way that the system encourages people like Alonzo, who are vulnerable, who are young, to cope is to go into segregation. They literally encourage you to go into solitary confinement for protection. And once you're in segregation, things just spiral out of control.
I overdosed, swallowed like 300 pills, 250 pills. I would cut myself. Sometimes I'll be curled up in the corner for weeks, not eating, just crying, shaking and stuff. I would just lose it, you know? I would just lose it. I would just sit down and just talk to people like they were sitting right there with me. And I would have full conversation. I would answer their questions and I'll answer my questions. But I'll have full conversations, you know? It might sound crazy, but it's whatever works. Being in the room for 23 hours a day is crazy.
How was it seeing him? It was awful. Shackles on his hands and feet. He was in isolation for so long, he didn't have a color. He was gray. What did I do? I smiled. I'm glad I was able to make it this weekend. How are you doing? He smiled as well. And we talked. And we ignored the obvious.
What happens is when you send them to state prison at that young age, they come out of prison an entirely different person.
33, close your door. 44, close your door.
We should think about what we are doing to our young people, even if they have committed a violent or serious felony at the age of 14, 15, what we're doing to them by sending them to an adult prison like this county did to Alonzo Thomas.
He was punished. He was taken off the streets during the time period when he was most likely to commit another crime. You can't afford to spend an inordinate amount of time feeling sorry for people, no matter how young, who are willing to commit crimes.
Before I got out, I was in a cage, and I was talking to a doctor, and I was in a little cage, probably about the size of this chair. And the doctor said, well, what are you worried about? You should be happy you're going home. And I said, this right here, this cage, me sitting in this cage, it feels safe to me. This feels safe. This feels comfortable. This feels normal. But when I'm out there and I can't touch these walls, I can't pace back and forth and be in my own little world. Really what it means to me is I'm institutionalized.
House is this not our house. This is our house. It's that one over there.
After 13 years, it was
Oh,
over,
man.
you know?
Where everybody's at.
For 13 years, it was over.
Mm.
Good to see you, man.
He get to come home, y'all. That thing still locked up.
Yeah, man.
Miss, I hate it when they separated us, man.
Mm.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm alright. Street is right here. We just crossed over it. Like our old house, 316 is just right down, right? Yeah, just right down the street. What y'all got to eat over here, man? Yeah,
No, that's right.
Okay, this is one of the things Alonzo asked for when he comes home.
For 13 years, they
Fried
waited.
chicken.
He wanted some shrimp, so I'm gonna
Oh.
cook him some shrimp. If
Okay.
it doesn't sizzle when you drop it in, you're doing it
You're
wrong.
doing it wrong.
Inside, I'm still that same 15-year-old.
Blow it. Please.
They didn't care what prison did to me. I'm still the same person.
Come on, we'll eat this meal together. This is Jubilee's first. Come on. Here, get one, Philip.
It was the greatest moment, the greatest feeling of my life. To see him again, you've been really waiting for this moment, like, forever. I honestly don't remember the first time I heard that he was going to be gone for that long. You know, I was really young. I was probably like 10, 11 years old. It was just different not having him around, not being able to talk about football and, I don't know, just do that type of stuff. I ended up playing football at Bakersfield High, and, you know, it would have been cool to, for him to see me play there and play in college.
Run, boy, run. Feet don't up, feet them failed him.
Unanimous All-American. First one in the history of Fresno State to receive that award. Can you imagine the joy Alonzo must have felt seeing that's my brother?
I had stacks of articles, of highlights, of interviews, pictures, everything. It probably, if I would have stacked it up page by page, it probably would have went up in the air about 5 or 6 feet. I knew that he was going to make the NFL, and there was no doubt in my mind. There was none.
My name is Rich Eisen. Pleased that you are with us for rounds 4 through 7 for a draft that may have its best value go today. Mike Mayock.
I was projected to go at a certain spot. I was projected to be like a second round pick or whatever.
By the third round, you know, we were all feeling like, I don't know. And we didn't know, you know, how to really feel. And my stepdad, Demus, he was like, you know what, let me watch a little more, you know, get it out my system. Okay. Like, not even 10 seconds after he said that, he starts screaming, whoa, whoa.
Oh, Philip Thomas, the safety out of Fresno State. It's the latest Redskins.
I started screaming. I said, whoa, I took off running.
And that is a great pick, I believe, for the Redskins as one of the best.
That was a great day.
The nurse came by, and I'm like, oh.
Nurse, can you do me a favor? I'm like, I have a little brother. He entered the draft this year. And I want to know where he went in the draft or did he get drafted? She goes, what's his name? So I told her his name and she left. And about 20 minutes later, she came back and she goes, Washington Redskins. And I said, Washington Redskins, all right.
Right.
I could dig it. That could be my team now, you know.
He hasn't seen me play a game ever, and I think he said he looked up my highlights before, but it's not the same. I just really can't wait for him to be able to come and finally see what his little bro can do.
Your number should be at the top. I told you.
Yeah, it's right there. It's right there.
See, your number is at the top. That's where mine is. You calling yourself?
I'm calling her.
It's an adjustment. It's a learning experience, I have to deprogram myself.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Valerie Rangel.
I'm Alonzo Thomas, Jr.
Alonzo.
Alonzo.
Alonzo Thomas Jr. And do you have your application with you?
I have to adjust to being free.
So are you working at all?
No, I'm not working.
You were just recently released, is that correct?
Yes, I did 13 years. So I got released two and a half weeks ago.
I don't know what it feels like to have a job. Never had a job before. I've never been to the prom or on a date. Never been on a date, never driven a car. I'm learning things at 28 I should learn that at 15.
So what I do? Put your foot on the brake.
It's on the brake.
Start the car. Keep your foot on the brake.
Foot on the brake.
Put it in reverse. Do not take your foot. Now you ease your foot up. Make sure no cars are around you.
Where's it said at?
Right there. Okay.
Any more accomplishment that I make, I'm one step closer to getting my life back, Learning how to drive is one step closer to regaining my childhood that I lost or regaining my manhood that I never had.
Does he deserve a second chance now?
He did his time. He deserves to be treated like any other citizen. He deserves to be treated fairly and be given a fair chance.
When you first decided to create your own histogram, what did you all have in common?
Years in prison.
Years in prison, something we all have in common. Can you show the histogram?
He doesn't deserve any breaks that a similarly situated citizen who hadn't committed an armed robbery wouldn't get.
That's very good, very good. It shows a good comparison.
I think he was harmed. I think he suffered permanent harm as a result of his experience in the California Department of Corrections. In other words, he is worse off now than he would have been if he hadn't gone to prison.
Damn.
What medications
Not
do you
passing
have now?
judgment, y'all. It's just sad.
Well, they just changed them today. I'm on Remeron, 15 milligrams once a day at nighttime. I'm on Boost Bars twice a day, once in the morning, once at night. And I'm on Risperidone. I'm on 4 milligrams every night.
What are those drugs for?
Some are antipsychotic, some are antidepressant, and one's for anxiety.
Are you taking them?
Sure.
Then I said, good evening, baby bro. I love you more than anything in the world. Then he said, I love you too.
Seems a little different. He's different. He's definitely different. It's definitely noticeable.
That's the answer. I love you, baby bro.
He's been incarcerated for just as long as he's been out of prison.
2 days later, I said, good morning, baby bro. I love you. My biggest fear is becoming a burden to somebody. And I don't want to be a burden to anybody due to my crime, due to something I did,
He's made it over one of the scary periods. He didn't commit any crimes. He was not sent back to jail.
Let me tell y'all something. When something of this matter, happened to a family, it don't just affect the individual, it affects the whole family. And I'm trying to tell you, it's not because that they are locked up, it's because of the crime that they did. And it's hard. And my son is 25 years for murder. Okay, and it's been since '05. He was 15, going on 16. He was like 2 weeks shy from his birthday before he got locked up. So he was 15, so when he turned 16, he was locked up. And when he went to court, he was tried as an adult. So to make a long story short, not going to go through the whole thing, but to give you the inference of it was 25 years. So my son will be 42 when he come home. And he's been in gangs, this, that, and the third, so forth, whatever. But, it's hard to manage when you're a working parent and you're trying to establish something and you just, all you want for your kids is to go to school. Everything else you have, you got their clothes, their haircuts, foods, everything else. The only thing, they don't even have a care in this world. It's just, you just get your shit back from a parent. And that wasn't my lifestyle. My lifestyle was to finish school, had 3 years of college, went to RN. So I was pretty busy, but still had a home as well. But when I got the news coming out of church on a Sunday, and you're hearing and your child has been locked up for murder, it was devastating to me, y'all. It really was. I mean, I didn't know how to take anything. My only at that time was gone, at such a young age, and I just couldn't cope with it. But before all that happened, I tried to get him off the streets. He was on probation, hanging with the gang members, Crips, this, that, and the third, so forth, so on. It was just rough, and I just couldn't balance it. Equilibrium was off. So, get back to it. Let's proceed with this video.
Prison. We all need some kind of structures to help us through. And he has a family that still is standing behind him.
You like it, Lila? I see my brother or my niece, and I just stare at her. I'm learning these things over again. I'm barely meeting these people for the first time. Just getting to know them is a blessing,
Here you go.
But it's like everything I do, it automatically takes me back to prison. I sit there and I see my mom cutting the meatloaf with a knife. And I'm thinking, she's gonna get a write-up. She's not supposed to have that knife.
That ain't funny, y'all. Please excuse me.
And it's like, okay, I'm free again. I'm free. She's just cutting the meatloaf with a knife, and it's okay.
It is. It's okay. It's all right.
I talked to my doctor today, and she said, oh, you're still in the honeymoon stage. I said, the honeymoon stage? I thought about it. I thought, that sounds about right, the honeymoon stage. Yeah, I said we honeymoon stage for a long time,
What's after the honeymoon stage?
The rest of my life. I don't sleep often, but sometimes when I sleep, I just, I wake up and I get up and I don't realize where I'm at.
Does it feel good?
Does it feel good?
To realize you're not in prison anymore?
No.
I would think that would feel good.
Yeah.
To remember that you're free.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. I've made a lot of decisions that has shaped the man I am today. Some I'm not proud of, but through all the bullshit, I am proud of me.
I've learned and shown growth after every fall, and I'll continue to keep rising. It all gets better in time. Every time you think you can't make it another day, something or someone picks you up. I don't know if anyone will ever read this stuff and really actually genuinely feel hope. I'm just trying while I'm here.
Why is it important to give other people hope?
I told you because I don't have any.
Teardrops cease. I'm all cried out. I've been through so much. At times I wanna shout. I can't let them win. Alonzo keep faith. Hop in, sink or swim, but the sharks give chase. I've been to this point so many times. When I get past it, just rewinds. I walked in that court, prepared to die. So when he said 13, I didn't cry. I didn't die or bat my eyes. I raised my cuffs and I waved goodbye. Goodbye to that young man who never got to live. Goodbye to that old soul who never was a kid. I'm trapped in the cage, all my rage has been bottled. All my winters come in May and brighter days never follow. I overstand injustice, so there'll never be peace. It pains me to witness, that's why my eyes weep. If any man that God can see the misery within, then maybe that pain will blow away with the wind.
Wow. Okay, y'all. What do you think about that? You know, it's being in places like that, it attacks your mental because you have to worry about what they going through in there. It's not justice at all. It's immoral. It's against human standards. You know, it's rough in there where they are. And you don't want to say you want them. I'm just at this point now, y'all, where I'm glad that I'm able to see him than not see him. He's eating, he's taking baths, you know, he has shelter. And it's just to the point where it's all wild. You hear all kinds of things, you know, stories that's going on in there. So you have to put them in mind as well, because not only that they're there, it attacks their mental too, and it programs them to the point where if they was to come on the outside, it's heavy for them because they wouldn't know the time that they are in, so they would have to catch up. They only know where they are, so when they come out into the world, my son is 28 now. He'll be 42 when he get home. So he has, 15, maybe a little less or more years left. And he's been down 12 years already. So let's go on with the, y'all can read as I go on. You can stop, press pause, you know, to catch up, you know, to read to whatever it is. But I'm not going to, I'll read it out loud. I'm going to just let you get a glimpse of what my world is like with my son being locked up since the age of 15, now 28. So, Alonzo isn't the only one that was going through this. You know, my son is there too as well. So, I'm going to stop talking and go through this and let it be. Seriously, y'all, I have a cold. I know it's the worst time to have a cold is during the summertime, but hey. I think that's the end of that. Yes, y'all. But I have a little lot more to say, but I'm going to speak on that at another time. But I'm gonna let y'all marinate on this, and y'all leave y'all comments at the bottom and let me know what you think. And if you're a parent that's out there and your child has been charged as an adult, you're not alone. If I can be an activist, to get out there, to really put out there to change some things, they are they are still children and minors, not adults, and they're being. I understand the crime, is crimes that adults do, not kids, but for a child to be trialed as an adult. It's kind of hard considering they aren't adults. They are still children. So you put them in some kind of program or something. I mean, locking them up isn't the answer. They need help otherwise. But I know from some things, but the finger got to be pointed somewhere. Where is it coming from? So you do a life pre-sentence report. So the pre-sentence report goes into the beginning of the child's life. Who's in his life? Is the child in his life? Where did he go wrong? Where did he go wrong? And you can't blame yourself because you do what you do. And people have their own minds. They're going to do what they want to do opposed to doing the right thing. And I'm not going to be held accountable for his actions. That's something that he's going to have to do. But he grew into a young man. He's got his GED. He's taking 2 college classes right now. But it's just the work that they have them doing for a little less of anything. It's just hard. And the deputies. Man, I don't want to get into it, but I want y'all to check this video out and give me y'all thoughts and whatever. But I do want to give a few shout outs to Marco News, King Rob, Beach Beauty, Zillionaire, all the people, T Night, especially T Night. T Night is great. He stands for what's right, not what's wrong. The YouTubers put out different information, but the same information, but on different narratives. I just want to give a shout out to you guys because y'all put out there for me to do what I'm doing today in a different way. Maybe later on I'll speak on the Kamika Jenkins and the Anisha Fowlers and so forth and so on. What's going on in Chicago. But my mainly focus here is the young kids because they are the future. They are our tomorrow. And if we aren't right, who can we help? So just please, y'all, just leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think of this video, and please, y'all, I'm not about drama. I'm about all peace over here. So don't put me in that category as the brothers. I mean, I learned from them. So I just hope and pray that everyone have a blessed evening. Everyone walk in peace and be blessed.